The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to NOAA's webinar series. I'm Mike McGowan, and I'll serve as moderator for this webinar. NOAA is really lucky to have many dedicated volunteer experts who are willing to share their time and talent and knowledge with the albinism community. For this webinar, we're using some experts from within the albinism community. The topic for this webinar is iPad apps for students with albinism. And when we say students, we mean students of all ages. The presentation will be anchored by Trisha Flanagan. Trisha is a person with albinism and just graduated from high school and is headed off to the University of Iowa in the fall. Trisha is going to talk about how she uses iPad apps to make her life easier. Also joining us this evening are Aidan O'Connor, a person with albinism, who will be a high school sophomore in the fall, assuming that he passes that last final tomorrow. Aidan will be the color man to Trisha's play-by-play. He'll be offering his thoughts and insights and help answer any questions. And we also have Janna with us for this webinar. Janna is a teacher of the visually impaired and orientation and mobility specialist in Palatine, Illinois. She is going to share her suggestions based on her work with children ages 3 to 15. Janna is the mother of a son with albinism. The GoToWebinar software allows participants to ask questions using a chat feature. You'll see a spot on your screen where you can submit written questions. Please feel free to type them in as they come up during the presentation. I'll try to insert any relevant questions when they come up. But for other more general questions, I'll select as many of them as we have time for at the end of the webinar and read them to our presenters. The presentation,
Mike?
Yes.
I believe I can view questions and answer them as well, so I could also be doing that in the background as well, too.
Let me handle that, please, Aidan.
Sure, no problem.
The presentation will take no more than a half hour, which will give us plenty of time for questions. We'll stay online for up to about an hour to answer as many questions as possible. I would like to remind everybody that the webinar will be posted on NOAA's YouTube channel within a few days. So if you have to leave because you want to watch the Hawks game or something, or you experience technical problems, please look for the recording on YouTube. And with all of that, Trisha, please take it away. Trisha, you're up.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First is I use my note. I use my iPad. You can listen to talking, just type as you're talking, and you can email whatever notes you take to whatever you want. You can print them out. Edit them, works very well, and then that's what I use with my teachers. So much easier that way, and they can also email you the notes, and you could open them up on there too.
Trisha, a lot of the beginning of that broke up a little bit.
At my high school, we have all the teachers will put things online. They have a website where they put PowerPoints, notes, all the homework and everything online, and class, so I would access the PowerPoints that are on the homework and everything that teachers are looking at videos. If they're watching the video and I can't see it from my seat, I can access everything from my seat. And it also helps researching things as well. And in the computer labs, if the computer doesn't have Zoom text, it's easier to use, instead of having to go close to the monitor, to use the iPad when you're in the computer lab of your class. Dragon is a note-taker app, and it pretty much press the button and talk into it, and it records and writes down everything you said. This is really easy if you are reading, needing to take notes as a chapter you're reading in class, and you could just, instead of having to stop and write down your notes, you can just talk into your iPad, and it'll record everything you're saying and automatically save it.
Trisha?
Yeah?
We're having a lot of difficulty hearing you. Are you, there's some kind of feedback or echo. Are you in a place where we can, you're fairly confined so that we can hear you a little bit better?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So did you not get the last slide? Should I go over that, or?
Yeah, could you back up and do it so that we can, and maybe go back to the one before that as well? Okay.
I'm sorry about that. So I use the notes in class to, instead of having to use pen and paper and notebooks and carrying around along all that stuff, you can just type notes as the teacher's talking and email them to yourself at later use. You can also edit them and have teachers send you things as well. And then the internet at my school, we have a website where the teachers put points and homework and all the assignments on it. And this is really nice because you can access all of it in class instead of having to get printout copies of the PowerPoints and everything. You're able to have it right at your desk in front of you. Also, it helps if you go to the computer lab or something with your class, and if the computer doesn't have Zoom text, you can go on your iPad for all the research and all the internet access, and it works just as well, if not better, so you don't have to put your face close to the monitor and strain your neck and everything. Dragon is a note-taker app. It is, you talk into it, and it will type whatever you say. I use this when I'm needing to take notes. I used this in chemistry a lot last year when I would have to read a chapter and take notes on it. Instead of having to stop reading and write down everything, I would just, as I was reading, read it out loud, something that was important, and it would automatically take it down, and it would automatically save it, so I would have those notes for me at easy access whenever.
Trisha, I believe that the Dragon software is only available when you're connected to the internet as well.
And then NoteTaker is another NoteTaker app. It will record and it will do type at the same time, so you can be recording a lecture and at the same time be taking notes on what they're saying. So that works that's very beneficial if you need, so you can hear the teacher whenever you want, and also to have your notes that you took at easy access. Okay, Bookshare is my favorite app, without a doubt. It has access to pretty much every book you can imagine. I got all my textbooks on it, and it's an audiobook, but it also has see all the visual. You can highlight and bookmark things, and you can come back to them and also read it to you. It has all the textbooks, and if you want a book that is on there, you can just go to the website and request them to have the book, and within 2 weeks they'll have that book up and running in Bookshare, as they have just so many books. It's so easy, from textbooks to leisure books, whatever you need.
Trisha, I believe, is the Bookshare app called Bookshare, or does it have a different title?
It's either called Bookshare or Read to Go. The app is called Read to Go, but or Bookshare, whichever one.
Okay, thank you.
And that's a one-time fee of $20, $19.99.
For the app, Janna?
For the Read to Go app, yeah. The Bookshare membership is free, but so you could always download books online. But for the Read to Go app, which is the Bookshare app, it's $19.99.
Just one, going back to Note Taker. Is that an iPad application?
I have it on my iPad. I think so. I use it on my iPad, so I'm pretty sure it is.
Do you know offhand, Janna or Aiden?
I've never used it before. I'm actually looking it up. It could be an iPhone app but then you can always use those on the iPads as well. But
okay, well, we can come back to that one. And on Dragon, is there a fuller name for Dragon?
I don't think so. When I downloaded it like a year or 2 years ago, and it was just Dragon. The name might have changed over the year, but from when I downloaded it was just Dragon.
Yeah, it's just called Dragon Dictation.
yeah, when you search it, because I tried searching it as well, Trisha, while you were talking, and it is. You have to if you put Dragon, a bunch of games and stuff come up. So if you put in Dragon Dictation in the search engine, in the App Store, it makes it a lot more streamlined.
Okay, you can keep going, Trisha. Okay, Trisha, you can keep going. Trisha, we're not hearing you.
It says she's offline.
It does. Something happened.
Okay.
You must have lost connection. Do you want me to go through some of the apps that I had, Mike?
Yeah, let me just switch to you, and we'll let you do your deal here.
Hello?
Yep.
Is my screen showing?
I don't see it yet.
I see your screen, Trisha.
Okay. Janna's screen.
Oh, Gianna, I'm sorry. Gosh.
That's okay. So I'm good. It says apps for people with visual impairments?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
go on. Then go ahead.
All right, so these are some of the apps that I use with some of my students. The first one is called Amplivision. It's just a magnifier that you can, you just have to use the camera on the iPad and scan over anything you'd want to see. It just makes it really quick and easy if you have the iPad going anyway. I believe this app is 99 cents. Aiden, have you ever used it?
No, I have not.
Okay. There's a couple of free ones out there. They're just a little bulky, so for 99 cents, this one's it's a pretty decent one. This actually is more of a service. You can't, the name is actually VIA, but if you search it that way, it doesn't come up. If you put in Braille Institute, you'll see this notebook logo. It's a little like, it looks like a phone book or with tabs. Braille Institute created this app, and what it is a resource for all of anybody who uses any type of vision apps, low vision apps, or vision teachers and students and adults with low vision. They can share their comments about apps that they've used, either new ones that they really love, or you can go on there, and if there's an app that you're thinking of buying but don't want to bite the bullet, you can go on and it'll give you a ton of comments on whether it was worth it or not. The next app is with the one with the pencil here. It's called Notability. This app is used, I'll have my kids, I can scan worksheets in using our copiers, and then once they're scanned in, through different ways, you could use Google Drive to scan in or Dropbox, but once they are, Notability is a note taker that allows you to write right onto that scanned image. So you can circle and highlight, write answers in. That one is, I think it's $1.99. And then Talking Scientific Calculator. I actually don't have this app. My son got it from his district, and I think he has it using a British accent. But anyway, it's a really nice, very comprehensive scientific calculator. The speech is really nice on it. You can change the accents, I think, and it's very bright, real high contrast. And I want to say I looked it up, and I think it's $1.99. I could be off on that by a little bit. I'll look it up, but it wasn't very expensive. Those are some of the apps I wanted to share. I think that's it on my end.
Hi, Mike, sorry. We lost connection. We're trying to get back on it right now.
Okay.
I'm on the phone right now, so
Okay.
we're trying to go. Wi-Fi went down. I apologize.
Okay, so what we're going to do then is while you do that, Janna went ahead with her part, and I have some questions that we can take while you're trying to reestablish your connection. Is there and you know, if someone in the audience knows this, could you the answer to this as well? If you could type it in the question. Is there a calendar app that can be enlarged effectively that anybody is aware of?
I have the built-in app iCal, and I use that with my family, and we have a huge family calendar. And I know in the settings, in the accessibility settings, you change the font, and that will change the font on your calendar for most of its facets. But it does not change it for everything. I know, but when you change the font, it's for a variety of apps that it does it for, including notes and messages. And on messages, it works really well as well.
Also, I use it's in settings. It's to accessibility, and it's Zoom. And when you turn it on, you just tap 3 fingers, and it automatically enlarges the screen completely. So it enlarges whatever you're looking at completely. So you can use that for the calendar too. It doesn't enlarge it. You can take it down, but it automatically enlarges the whole screen.
Okay. Another question that we have here is coming from a teacher who is working in a couple of different districts with very limited wireless access. So students are unable to get online textbooks or communicate with teachers online during class. Any ideas for making the most of the iPad given that limited connectivity?
Well, go ahead.
You can go. Okay. I know that for some of the apps, Read2Go, you need Wi-Fi to download the books, but you don't need Wi-Fi to open the books. So that could be one thing, as long as they were in a Wi-Fi setting to download it. But also, one thing they could just use is taking pictures of the board and then you can move your fingers and it zooms it in automatically. So that'll help if there's something on the board that they can't read, like the homework or the notes on the board. They can just take pictures of it, and that'll just zoom it in when they move their fingers.
Yes, and I also know of apps that will allow you to record the teacher. I mean, of course, you have to download them, but once you get the app, you can just record a teacher and then write down notes from that. There's several note-taking apps that don't require the internet. I mean, there are many options, including the one that Trisha said about taking a picture of the board.
Also, my son's district, which is a very large district actually, they do not allow him to have any connectivity to the internet whatsoever at home or at school. So his teacher has to download all the books on Read2Go, but then they're accessible. He uses it for they have all his textbooks on there, especially his math book actually. And he doesn't need connectivity for that. He just goes right into it. But again, the vision teacher has to download it for him. He uses it to take notes, and you don't need internet for that. He uses it, again, like Trisha or Aiden was saying, taking a picture and then enlarging that. What else does he have on there? His talking calculator is on there. All his reading materials, because he can manipulate the font and Read2Go even if it's not online. So it's definitely usable without the internet. It would be nice to have the connectivity, but if you don't, as long as the teacher has some access to that so they can get those books and some of those things on there, and the student just, I think it's just a little bit more work for the vision teacher.
Gianna, does he have his iPad provided by the district?
He does.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right, yeah, if it was ours, they wouldn't, obviously,
Yeah.
I would not, if it was ours, he'd be able to get on at home, but he's not, and since it's provided by the district, that's their, you can't really.
Yeah, you have to follow the rules.
You have to abide by their rules, which is fine,
So there's a related, there's a general question here that I'm going to ask to Janna. Does the school district generally supply iPads? Is that something that people should reasonably expect, or is that kind of a tough thing to get?
Well, I think there's a couple of factors there. You have to look at your district. Are they providing iPads for other students with disabilities? And if they are, then that would kind of be one thing to look at. The other thing is, so usually when they give accommodations to a student, they're looking at the best possible way to meet those accommodations. So if they're already providing the student with large print, they don't necessarily have to give an iPad. Now, having said that, I wrote a grant, and that's how I, as a vision teacher, was able to get my students their iPads. The district that my son is in did not write a grant. They just went through the district, and the district started providing iPads for children with disabilities. The benefit, I don't know if I'm speaking to a teacher or a parent or a student, but either way, the benefit and what you can kind of use as a really good reason for wanting an iPad is that you don't have to carry around those large print bulky books anymore that are very expensive anyway. So I would definitely look at, I think you'd start with your vision teacher, maybe start with, and take it from there and just ask and see. It doesn't hurt to ask. That's always my, theory on it. It doesn't hurt to ask at all. So
Trisha, Trisha, are you ready to resume? We've got some really good questions for when you're done, but are you ready to resume?
Yep, it just came back up.
Okay, so let me give the screen back to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Learning Ally is another app like Bookshare Read2Go. It has a bunch of textbooks on it, but the thing is with Learning Ally is it does not have visual. It only has audio. It has the page numbers, but it does not have the words. You can bookmark like a page or something, but you can't bookmark words or anything like that. And then email, I use my iPad to email, pretty much just me and my teachers, we email back and forth all the time with papers and stuff like that. It's so much easier because there's so many different, like PowerPoint and pages, or that's another word for Word, but it's on the iPad. And if you use it, like you can just email it to your teacher, so you don't have to go and email it to yourself. They just take it, and if you have a presentation, you don't even have to print it out. If you have to talk to teachers about it, but you can email them papers, anything. It's very easy access, and it's all right in front of you.
Mail is also one of the apps that you are allowed to enlarge the text within the iPad settings in the accessibility region.
And then Pages, as I said before, it's Microsoft Word, except it is for the iPad. I think it was either $10 or $15. It's a one-time thing, but it automatically saves everything right in front of you, and you could pick different templates that you want to use, and it works very easily, and you could print it. You can do different colors, different fonts. It's not just Microsoft Word, but on the iPad. And then Dropbox, that is on the iPad. It is just to pretty much share all of your things together, so you can automatically, if you will, save them to whichever device you want to go on. And then Keynote, that's what this presentation is on right now. It is PowerPoint, but it is for the iPad. It was, I think, $19.99 one-time payment, but I'm not very good with PowerPoint, and it works so much easier. It's very easy to control and to use, and how to work and everything. And then Siri. Siri works really well for people who are visually impaired, because I can't always see the screen. So if I ask Siri a question, she'll answer it and automatically if I set an alarm, look something up for me. It works out very well, not just in the education field, but just in everyday life, setting alarms, making reminders, everything. It works out very well. And then camera, as I said earlier, I'll take pictures of the board, and then I'll just zoom in on them, and the camera is very good, so it doesn't get blurry, so you can't see it. It stays nice and clear, and you can make it big, you can make it small, you can change, edit it a little bit so that it's easier to read. It works very well for just taking a picture of the homework, so you can just have it when you need to sit down and do your homework later that night. And then Big Magnify, this is probably my favorite.
Trisha, I'm interrupt with one relevant question. If students create a PowerPoint presentation using Keynote and save it, can it be emailed and opened as a regular PowerPoint presentation on a computer, say someone's working on a school project?
Yeah. When you hit the share and print button, it'll say, when you want to email it, it'll say, it'll give you options to email it as Keynote or PowerPoint. You can just get to click. Same with Pages. You can either email that as Pages, Microsoft Word, or PDF. It'll give you the option on whichever one you want to email it as. So it is very compatible for it to be PowerPoint, and you need to see Microsoft Word. They're all compatible with each other.
Okay, one other real quick question. What was the app listed before Pages?
Email.
Okay.
Okay. Big Magnify this is a lifesaver for me. I have it on my phone as well. It works out so well. It is pretty much a CCTV on your iPad. It says you can take pictures, and it'll save the picture, and you could zoom in. It has 4 different magnifies, and it's very clear. You can put it to different backgrounds. It's pretty much a camera, but just magnifies it. It's the best magnifier I've ever had, and I have it on everything. I use it for multiple different things, and it's easy to, it's not even, you could take a picture as with the camera, or you can also take a picture with this, and it'll automatically magnify it and it'll save it. So you don't even have to worry about zooming in with your fingers. It'll just automatically save it completely zoomed in and clear and focused and everything. This is the best app I've found so far using my iPad for the past 2.5, 3 years.
So does that work well for things that are at a distance?
Not as much as a distance as you can. It works as a distance if you have it focused well, and you could zoom into it. But I use it mostly just for things up close, like a piece of paper that I can't read, or like, I use it a lot for like recipes or like things on the back of the box if you need to read like a recipe or something like that. But I guess you can use it for other things. You just need to have it focused.
Okay, thank you.
But that is the best app I found for my whole entire using any Apple product. That's my favorite app. And then the last slide is Zoom. Zoom is, I talked about earlier, it is in settings. When you put, it's in accessibility, you press Zoom on, just press the on button, and it has it where you just tap your fingers 3 times and it zooms it in, and you can just move around. It works for any type of page. It works for apps that you have that are open. It works for internet you can't zoom in on, or contacts if it's not big enough on. It works just pretty much for anything that you're ever going to use. You can zoom in on it. It works out very well. And then that's all the apps I have.
Okay, so related to that last point that you made, that option, that accessibility option that allows the 3 taps. Now, is that something that you have to do? That's a setting then for the device, or do you have to do that, say, for individual applications? Like one of our listeners asked says that the 3 taps doesn't work on the calendar.
See, good question. The 3 taps works on the calendar for me. It's just sometimes it seems like it doesn't work, and you have to move your fingers. It's hard to explain, but it's one of those things where you just play around with it and you figure it out. Because I remember the first couple of times I used it, I thought it didn't work at all, and I was like, I don't understand this, so I didn't zoom in enough. But if you just play around with it, it'll work out with zoom into anything for any font, or to any size you want it to be at.
Okay, we've got a couple of people are interested in knowing that can you get most books for high school and college on the iPad? And I suppose that would also address Bookshare. Could the panel discuss that, please?
It really varies. It varies a lot. The iPad itself, like the iPad bookstore that they have for textbooks, those textbooks are like specifically designed for iPad, so you wouldn't find it anywhere sponsored by Apple. However, on Bookshare, I've been able to find a lot of luck in getting books for school. Most of them do not have pictures, and in fact, when you're using the iPad to read large print textbooks from Bookshare, you cannot view pictures. So, if that's a problem, it's not going to work out. And I know the Learning Ally audio program also has lots of textbooks on it as well.
I know also too, if you need a textbook on there, you can request the book, and they will make it so that within 2 weeks the book will be on there ready for you to download.
The other thing with the Read to Go and books is that up until recently, it was not impossible, but almost impossible to get your books through with pictures. Now, supposedly, the new update of Read to Go is supposed to give you an option to go through Bookshare and open it in your Read-to-Go, and it would, if when you download it that way, it's going to have pictures. Now, I haven't actually been successful in doing that yet, but I just started trying. So that would be really huge, because a lot of times the disadvantage that kids have with using the textbooks or any books on their iPad with Read-to-Go is that their pictures are not there.
Anything else on that? So are there any applications or any ways that the iPad works and interacts directly with smartboards in the classroom?
If no one else has an answer, I don't do it, but so one of my coworkers, well, she's in Wisconsin. If you have if your district has smart boards, and they have the smart software on their computer, you can download an app. I think she said it was $7.99, and I cannot remember the name of the app right now, but it's something to do with the smart software. I'll try to look it up right after I'm done talking. And then, yeah, whatever is being presented on that smart board, you can connect it to your iPad. It's pretty cool. And then vice versa, you can go back and forth. So the student can write on the iPad and then connect it back and send it to the teacher in her smart software.
Okay. What apps does anyone use for recording lectures?
I have the Note Taker app, and that works pretty well with the recording of lectures. That's the only one I've used. That's the only one I've really ever played around with and used for lectures, though.
I know there's audio memos. Some of my students use audio memos, but they're kind of short, I think. I don't know if there's a time limit on them.
Here's a specific question. How do you move the page once you're zoomed in? When I zoom in, I find that it freezes on the middle of the screen. For example, I'll only see the middle of the keyboard and not the keys on the right or left.
That's simple. You just take 3 fingers and then drag the screen around. It'll move the screen like a cursor.
Hey, Trisha, do you know that your webcam is on?
Oh, no.
It's been off for a little. I just didn't know. I didn't want you to not know that. You can turn it around.
Let's see, what else do we have here? We talked about recording. Does anyone use something called Join Me?
No, but I've heard of that app. My vision teacher I'm pretty sure that's the app she was telling me about one time, but I don't remember exactly what it was, but she said it was a good app.
Yeah, in my district, it goes back to the smartboard question. I was having troubles there, but I know that was what we were going to use. We had smartboards in our school. However, we didn't get around to it because none of the teachers were able to receive them. And we were going to use the smartboards with the Join Me app, which is free. And that way you can share your screen easily with an iPad, but you both have to be connected to the internet. You also have to know.
We have a comment from one of the participants tonight with regards to recording the teacher. The native camera will allow recording, but the sound may be an issue if the student is not close enough to the teacher. Again, I'm you may have covered this. I apologize if I'm being redundant, but another comment is that Quick Office Pro has word processing, spreadsheet, and presentation functions that interface seamlessly with Microsoft Office programs. It's a bit more expensive at $30, but this individual finds it works much better than Pages and Numbers.
Well, and the Pages and the two apps that Trisha was talking about, they seem pretty nice. Like this presentation seems really nice, Trisha, but it is more cost effective to do Quick Office if you're going to use both. Well, actually, Quick Office has a Word, even though it's not really Word, and then it has a PowerPoint and it has an Excel. The other thing that I just started using, which is really nice and free, and our district is probably going to stop buying Quick Office because it is more expensive, is Google Drive. Google Drive, you can download, especially if you have a Google account, a Gmail account. Our district's going like all Google. And so Google Drive also has a Word. I'm putting Word in quotes, which you can't see me, but it's not really Word, but it has a, I can't think what you call that, but where you write documents. And it also has a spreadsheet. It does not have a PowerPoint. I'm guessing that they will come up with one, but they don't at this point. And that's free.
One question that's out here that we'll let you all know, and is it possible for us to share a copy of this presentation with, say, one of the participants' TVI? Is that something that we're going to be willing to do? Well, I guess if nothing else, this will be recorded and on Noah's YouTube channel, so you could always share it that way. But we'll get back to you on whether we are going to make it available. Do you find a disadvantage that Zoom doesn't work with VoiceOver simultaneously?
I used VoiceOver before, but I never really, I didn't really like it, so I've never really used them together because I just usually use Zoom. I don't use them together though.
Yes, same with me. I never tried to use them together.
I don't have students that use them together either, to be perfectly honest. The VoiceOver, mostly I've had, they're not my students, but two completely blind users use it. They've gotten really good at it. But most of my kids prefer the Zoom feature. And to answer a previous question that Trisha tried, when you triple click, or when you use three fingers and tap, when you do the triple, you keep your middle finger on. If you on that second click, so you have three fingers on the screen and you tap it twice on that second one. If you don't lift your fingers and spread out your index and your ring finger, that'll make it bigger. And then again, if you come in, it'll make it smaller. And then the next time you open it up, it'll stay at that same size. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to see unless you're visualizing it, but play around with that a little.
The way I learned it, that you did the double click, but you just moved your fingers up and down on the double click and when you held it on there, and it would zoom in.
Okay. And does everybody, should we cover the triple click home? Does everybody know about the, I mean, I'm sure Aiden and Trisha, you guys have done the triple click home feature, or no?
What is that?
So if you, I might be saying it wrong, but if you go into settings, this is for everybody out there, if you go into settings and you go into general, at the bottom, towards the bottom is accessibility. So you can turn on just VoiceOver, or you can turn on just Zoom. But you do have an option. If you scroll down to the bottom of that accessibilities page, it says triple click home. If you click on that, it says ask. you want to, wait, is that how you do it? Let me just make sure. I'm going to turn it off and then. You're going to want it to ask you. So if it's already not on ask, you can click on the options that you want it. What will happen is when you triple click on the home screen, another screen will come up and it'll ask you what you would like to happen. Do you want the voiceover on? Do you want the Zoom on? So if you check the ones that you would like right now I have them all checked. I have voiceover checked, invert colors checked, and Zoom checked. Okay? So then I go back home, and when I triple click the home button, a little screen appears and asks me which one of those features I want. Do I want the voiceover, the invert colors, or the Zoom? So it's just
I've used that before.
Yeah, it's just a faster way to access those accessibility features without having going through the whole thing, and it gives you the option to do them, make a quicker change. So if you want to go from Zoom to VoiceOver, just triple click home and do it.
VoiceOver on. Landscape.
Okay.
Sorry, I just turned VoiceOver on.
VoiceOver.
Okay, it's off.
I have a question here. Where I had it right here a second ago. For students entering middle school and high school, would you recommend an iPad over a laptop?
I would recommend the iPad. I had a laptop my freshman year, and I did not use it. I didn't like it at all. The iPad, well, just for me, the iPad was just so much easier to use, and all the apps are so accommodating. Apple just has really good apps. I think that the iPad works better than the laptop, but that's just my personal opinion.
I agree completely. I don't think there's anything that the laptop has that you will need that the iPad doesn't have, and it has way better accommodations for your vision than a laptop will.
Okay.
I'm going to just defer to them because they're actually the users with low vision and I'm not. I will say this, as far as if you are financially at a place where you can't afford your own iPad, then you're going to want to see, especially going off into college, what the state's going to pay for. And depending on where you're at, they may provide an iPad for you and they may not. But that's just something to look at. Right. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I wanted to add, I'm sorry that we're jumping around here a little bit. I want to add a comment that one of our participants tonight left with us. This person is a recent college graduate. I record lectures using Microsoft Word on my MacBook, so you might be able to do the same using Pages and iPad. I was able to download books for college using the Kindle app, the iBooks app, and various ebooks apps from local libraries. And I'm sorry if I don't remember whether this question was answered. How much does QuickOffice cost?
I thought it was $19.99, but someone just said it was $29.99. I'm looking it up right now. Can you hear me, Mike? I was having a hard time hearing you the last time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can hear you fine.
Okay. I'm checking. It's either $19.99 or $29.99.
Okay, so when you have that, just jump in at the appropriate moment. There is an app called Bigger Brighter, which works with both iPad and iPhones, that using the camera allows text to be enlarged and the contrast can be changed on anything to which the camera is pointed. Again, that's a comment that was left with us. This is an interesting question for the iPad users out there. Do you prefer the iPad or the iPad mini?
I feel like it's bigger screen, so it's more stuff on the page, and you'll be able to see more. I don't know. That's just me, though. I like the bigger screen.
Okay, and it's one of our participants tonight says that she found Quick Office Pro for $19.99.
That's what I thought. Yeah, so you're better off if you're going to try to use both of those, like Trisha's apps. She obviously likes them, so that's great, Trish. But if you're going to use both, then you'll get both of those. You get the Word and the Excel and what did I say the other one was? PowerPoint, all for 20 instead of 20 for each. So, just a thought.
Okay. I had a really good question here, and I lost it. One of the participants says that the vision teacher showed an application called Dream Reader. Has anybody used this?
Dream Reader?
Dream.
I have not heard of it.
Oh, sorry about that. We can't help on that.
Can she type back what it does? Or he, whoever. Maybe if they, if, at some point if they get back to you, Mike.
Okay. What word processing software works with the iPad? Quick Office? Question mark.
Yes, that's one of them. And then what was the one you showed, Trish?
Pages.
Pages. And Quick Office is free.
Okay, one of our participants.
I'm sorry, not Quick Office. Did I say Google? Google Drive.
Okay.
Okay.
One of our participants tonight says that she found a text-to-speech app called Voice Dream Reader. Okay, one of the questions that we asked, and maybe I should have explained this at the beginning, is why is everybody muted? Well, there are currently 61 people on this webinar, and if everybody's mics were unmuted, we'd hear every barking dog, every siren, every person cheering for their sports team. So we prefer to do the questions the way that we're doing it here, just so that everybody can hear. And also, when you have that many people on with the microphones, there's all kinds of echoes, and it becomes unwieldy for you to hear what's going on. So we are getting close to the end here. Let me see if there's anything else. There's a general question here, and I think that you addressed this before, Janna, but I think it's worth talking about again. Should the school supply the laptop? I guess that goes back to the laptop versus iPad, and I think you talked about that a little bit, Janna, but if you could just do that once again, that'd be great.
Okay. You can't quote me on any of this. Should the school provide it? If the student, you have to determine a need. So basically, I'm going to get legal a little bit, but basically what the law says and what the school districts say are that as long as they can provide the service to the student. So if the student needs large print, yes, if you're on this webinar, you probably believe that the best way for our kids to have that is through the iPad because it's portable and it can manipulate the font and you can download as many books as you'd like. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the only way to do that. So if the district is still providing large print and they think that that's, so my point is that you could definitely ask and inquire and And the more knowledge you have, the better. So if you go to your district with the knowledge that you've learned today and say, these are the reasons I want my child to have an iPad or laptop if that's what you're looking for, that definitely would be a better argument for you. Most districts are going in that direction, but I know there's a lot of districts out there that still don't have a lot of money. We're in an area here where the 3 speakers that you're talking to right today are pretty fortunate in that our school districts all do have the funds to provide technology for our students, but I know some school districts don't. So you kind of have to look at that. I don't know if that's a clear enough answer, Mike, but
it's a very good answer. That's exactly what we were looking for. I'm sorry that we can't get to all of these questions this evening. We're right up on.
Oh, by the way, can you hear me still?
Yep.
So if you want an iPad, I'm going to plug this because we've just extended the date. NOAA is doing, if you're a student or you are a person with albinism, you can write an essay, and we're going to be putting it back out there in the fall. We did it, but we didn't get a big response. So in the fall, we're going to have an essay contest, and if you are the winner of this essay contest, you will win an iPad with Read2Go app on there, which is that the Bookshare app. So that's something to consider, and so look for the email through NOAA, or keep checking the NOAA website, and we'll have it posted as soon as the essay contest opens up again.
All right. Well, thanks very much to our panel tonight, to Trisha, Aiden, and Janna. This was, I think, very informative. We had upwards of, we had well over 60 participants during our session this evening. And just a reminder that the webinar will be posted to the NOAA YouTube channel. A number of people asked what that is. If you go to YouTube and look for NOAA Albinism, you'll find this and several other webinars that are out there. And again, it will be posted within a few days. And if anybody has any questions, any follow-up questions relative to today's webinar, please feel free to email me at mmcgowan@albinism.org, and I will pass those on to our panelists and try to get you the answers to any of those questions. You're going to receive an email in the next day or two asking you to fill out an evaluation. I'd ask, in order to keep this program and programs like it strong for the albinism community, we value your feedback, and we would like to hear what works and what doesn't work. We apologize for the little bit of technical difficulty that we had this evening, but I think we've had an opportunity to share a lot of great information tonight. I strongly suggest that you keep an eye out on your email for announcements for new webinars and teleconferences, and to check the NOAA website for future events. 2 events that I'd like to remind you of, in addition to what Janna talked about with our essay contest, so come up again in the fall. NOAA's 15th National Conference is going to be held in San Diego, California, and on July 10th to 13th, 2014. And a little bit before that, we're having an adult day, adult weekend, September 6th to 8th this year, 2013, in Portland, Oregon. Thank you all very much for participating. Good night.